get into how your voice can heal. Okay, so I got an interesting email. Okay, from somebody who said, "Well, your subconscious doesn't work like a video recorder. It doesn't like, you know, like hold everything you do." And I'm like, well, that's, when you get down to breaking it down, no, it doesn't. There's four different types of memory. Okay, explicit, implicit, emotional, and procedural. Okay, so but your subconscious, anything that's imprinted in your subconscious with emotion will stick out. Okay, and this is why when you do your affirmations, you have to put some energy into it. Okay, so emotion and energy are synonymous. So as long as you put energy into it, okay? So when you're writing your affirmation, do it with energy, okay? The way you're thinking about it, the way you're expressing it, okay? When you read it out loud, okay? Do it with energy, okay? So a little bit more about the subconscious. So it doesn't store every event exactly as memories, okay? It doesn't but when people do hypnosis, for example, okay, the data that surfaces in hypnosis comes out of their subconscious. Okay, emotional experiences, repeated thoughts, significant events. Okay, significance, the significance of it is the emotion tied to it. Okay, and learned behaviors. So I just wanted to go over that. Good morning, Jay. Jay is our moderator on this platform over here. We don't normally mention all the platforms. We're on 7 platforms worldwide every day. So we don't mention all of the platforms because some of the algorithms kind of, block us if we do that, or actually just prevent us from getting out. So repetition is important. Repetition, okay? Repetition provides a deeper imprint in your subconscious. Repetition and emotion. Just remember those two things. It's real simple. Okay, I'm not here to give you a psychology lesson. But anyway, so now we're going to talk about your voice, okay? How does your voice heal trauma? Okay, well, it doesn't really heal, it heals trauma, it doesn't make it go away. Okay, it doesn't cure trauma. Okay, trauma is not necessarily curable. Okay, it's treatable, it's very much treatable. Okay, but what happens when you go through emotional events and they stick out, right? And we call that trauma. Okay, but what happens when you apply, vagus nerve activation, which is what we've been talking about, which is how the voice heals. Okay, well, when that happens, you're able to separate from it. Okay, in other words, when things upset you and you get that knee jerk reaction to do something, okay, that uncontrollable knee jerk reaction because of anxiety, because you're anxious, okay, this vocal exercise will separate you. So you guys over here, oh, good morning, Janice. There's Janice. Good morning. Good morning, family. Yeah, Jay's giving you hugs. There you go. So so the vagus nerve activation is important. Okay, because it goes down through your throat chakra and into your heart. Okay? And your heart chakra will open. Okay? And you'll feel it in your heart. Okay? Goes right through his throat. Now, people that have a problem expressing themselves, okay, need to clear their throat chakra. Okay, now spiritual people understand this. Okay, the average everyday person goes, "What? But to clear your throat chakra?" Yeah, because your emotions, okay, are in such a condition that making a very loud sound is not going to be possible right away. Okay, it takes practice. Okay, now you could call that confidence, but it's actually a clearing of negative emotions. Okay, it's a clearing of fear. And as you clear the fear, or let's say it in another way, as you get more confidence, okay, because confidence cannot exist where fear is, and vice versa. But once you start doing this, it gets stronger and stronger. And this is why we build muscles. This is why we work on your muscles. Okay, because when we do this, okay, your throat chakra does not have a choice. It will just open because the muscles get stronger and the muscles open it. It's about how much energy we can get through your muscles. Now, when this happens, what happens? Well, your neurotransmitters fire more oxytocin and endorphins. Okay, and when that happens, what happens? You start to heal. You start to calm, okay? And anxiety goes away, okay? Now, does it come back? Hmm, interesting question. I have to ask and answer questions, okay? Um, it doesn't necessarily come back in the way that you might think, okay? Can you get triggered back into anxiety? Yeah, but not constant anxiety. Okay. Now, let's say, for example, you have anxiety, and let's say, for example, you take medicine for it. Okay. You're suffering, you're anxious, you're suffering from anxiety, you're taking medicine. Okay. When the medicine is effective or active, right, you're not going to feel it. When the medicine wears off, guess what? There you are again. Okay. Does it work the same way with vagus nerve activation? Well, actually, with vagus nerve activation, it doesn't happen like that. It doesn't happen like you do the exercise and then it comes right back. It's not like that. It's not like taking medicine. Now, I must say that you need to follow up with a medical professional if you are taking medicine. Okay, this is not replacing medical advice. This is not replacing. Good morning, Maggie. Good morning. Welcome back. Hey, my whole family's here. It's not replacing medicine, okay? Although a lot of my clients have gotten off of their medicine, but that should only be done with a doctor's supervision. Okay, that should only be done when a doctor is guiding you and decreasing your meds and and gradually getting you off, because that's what happened with my clients. Okay, so they don't just stop taking medicine. Okay, that's not advisable. That's not a good thing to do. Breath regulation is another thing. Okay, so if you're breathing shallow all the time, okay, we're gonna get you to breathe deeper. Okay, deep breathing is important for many reasons. Okay, I'm not gonna spend too much time on breathing, but controlled breathing, okay, allows you to let go of the anxiety. Okay, so vagus nerve activation, breath regulation, okay, through the vocalization process. And what we do is we exhale slowly, right? We exhale that straight tone all the way. And if you want to see it, it's on this account. Good morning, Manuel. Good morning. Hey, everybody's here. True Legacy. Good morning, Jack. Good morning. So you can go on my account on my it's 2 videos back on my account if you want to see it. Vibrates it all the way to your toes. Yeah, yeah. Janice has been through my program, purging negative thoughts and opens you up. Yeah, it sure does. Yeah, it opens you up. Okay, now let's call fear this. Okay, and let's say when you get relaxed from the inside. Okay, we're not talking about massage therapy that's on the outside. We're talking about the inside. You start relaxing like this. This is figurative, right? And you start opening up like this. Okay? But that literally happens. Why? Because you're loosening up on the inside. You're not so uptight on the inside. Yeah, good morning. Good morning. So you're not so tight on the inside. Okay, it works like massage therapy from the inside out. Okay, if you can imagine, a massage therapist going, "Oh man, dude, you're stressed," or "Girl, you're stressed," right? Working on you on the outside. Well, guess what? Human beings don't just stress on the outside; they stress all the way through their body. Okay, that's what happens with stress, and this is why they say stress can unalive you. Okay, they say that, and I guess in extreme amounts it can. Okay, I've never seen anybody suffer that much stress, but then again, I heal stress through the voice. So people come to me, they start relaxing. Okay, but this relaxation on the inside is due to the vagus nerve, and when your vagus nerve starts to be active, okay, when you start to stimulate it, it's vagus nerve stimulation through the voice. Okay, so what is the vagus nerve? It's the longest cranial nerve. You have 12 of them. Okay, it's the longest one. It goes right down through your throat, into your heart, and fans out into your intestines. Okay, so what does this do? Well, this relaxes you. It gets rid of anxiety. It gets rid of overthinking. Okay. It gets rid of worry. Okay. People actually stop worrying with this thing. It's so funny. People used to come into my office and tell me, they used to give me the report. Now we do online now, and I don't really get the reports the same way. Good morning, user. Hey, there's Gina. Good morning, Gina. Yeah, give Gina some love. Welcome her to the family. She's brand new, and so so yeah, they used to come and give me the report, right? And it was always like, wow, my kids are starting to, mingle with other people at school. They're starting to join clubs. They're more outgoing. They've really opened up. You know, there was this one. I'll tell you this story about this one guy, really really special guy, and he came to my school. Okay, and he was this expert guitarist. Like I've never seen someone so good on the guitar. And his father brought him to me because he was in his earbuds, right, with metal music all day long. That's all he did. He was stuck in the music, okay, in his in his earbuds basically. And so I worked with him for a couple of months, and then pretty soon he started opening up. What happened when that happened? Well, he started opening on my shows. He started becoming more outgoing. His father was like, "Wow, yeah, he's doing more things, more social things." Right? Because now people get kind of like locked in. Okay? Devices, electronic devices kind of help. Okay? But it keeps people closed in like that. Okay? And what this does with the vagus nerve activation, it opens people up. Okay, they start becoming more outgoing. Janice was like that. Janice was staying home, and yeah, Gina, you should talk to Janice. So Janice, this is Gina right here, and Gina's brand new, and her situation is similar to yours. I want to say, similar. Good morning, Sarah. Hey, the whole gang's here, and her situation is similar to yours, and she's gonna get the same benefits. Maybe you can share with her, Janice. There you go. There you go. So, so yeah, so what happens is people become more outgoing. Okay, why is that? Because the prison is here. Okay, so the complete program is affirmations, meditation, vocalization, visualization. But the vocalization is the vagus nerve stimulation. Okay, and when the vagus nerve is stimulated, it goes right through the throat chakra. Okay, your voice starts coming out more and more and more automatically. Okay, Jay's daughter actually comes to me. So Jay's daughter comes to me, and like weekly, her voice gets stronger. She opens up more. Now, you can have strong muscles without projecting your voice. Okay, it's the will that we work on. Okay, so phonation, right, means the will to utter a sound. Okay, you have to have the will. If you don't have the will, you're not gonna open up like that. Okay, but your will is what gets developed. Okay, some people call that confidence. Okay, but you have to be willing, and this enables people to be willing. Okay, because every week they get stronger and stronger. Every week they open up a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more, and that's why it takes 12 weeks. So it's 12 weeks of 1 hour sessions. Okay, and these people are like they change into different people. Okay, the true self emerges when negative emotions are not on the surface. Okay, because they're all superficial. It's not who you are. Fear is not who you are. Anxiety is not who you are. Okay, worry is not who you are. You're underneath all of that. Okay, and when you have a negative thought, we mention this every day so you're aware, so you can help yourself. Okay, when you have a negative thought, if you think it for more than 6 seconds, your amygdala gets activated and it starts to try to save you. Okay, because it starts making you think, what if this happens? What if this? What if this? What if this? And all the what ifs are rooted in fear. But it's there for a reason. Okay, it's there for evolutionary purposes. It's there for us to protect ourselves for the good of the species. But if you're living, let's say, corporate life or a city life, or you don't have to run from grizzlies or things like that, then you don't have to be so alarmed all the time. But when people live their lives in, let's say, survival mode, okay, which is really what it is. If you're filled with anxiety, if you're anxious, okay, you're living in survival mode because there's a negativity loop going on. How is that established? Well, you get the negative thought. You let it go for more than 6 seconds. You get the negative what ifs. You choose one of those. For more than 6 seconds, what happens? Another bunch. You choose one of those. It keeps going. Okay, now, it's not that way for every single person, okay? That's not true for everyone, but it's an example. Okay, some of it is trauma. Some people are thinking about things that happen, real things that happened that affected their lives. Okay, what this does is it allows you to separate, because there's a separation between the body and the spirit. Okay, and we come from the spiritual position of the kingdom is in here. Okay, and if we establish that the kingdom is in here, okay, Jesus Christ said the kingdom's within, now you have the body and the spirit and the separation of. Okay, you're that spirit that lives in here. You're not the body. You have a body. You're using a body. The body will get old. One day the body will give up. What does it give up? It gives up your spirit in here. Okay, that never goes away. That's eternal. That's the good news. The bad news is, yeah, there's going to come a time where we all have to let go. But while you have your time, it's really, really like a bad experience if you're going to go in this negative loop, and your subconscious will help form it. Right? Wash, rinse, repeat, wash, rinse, repeat. And these fears go into your subconscious. Why? Because your subconscious learns in repetition and emotion. Whatever you put into your subconscious with emotion, or whatever you think about repetitively with emotion, goes straight into your subconscious, and your subconscious just repeats it. It repeats the process. Okay, the topics change, the fears change. Because you think of this thing, and then you think of that thing, and then you think of another thing, but they all result in fear. Okay? And that's what gives you anxiety. So what else happens when you do vagus nerve activation? Resonance and somatic vibration. Okay, so somatic refers to your body. Okay, so somatic healing is the healing of the body. Okay? Sound generated by your voice produces physical vibration. Okay, and I have these little kids. It was so funny when I had my school. Now I teach online, but when I had my school, these little kids, they were like 9 years old, puffing out their chest and like standing like they wanted to fight. And like I saw this like it was like watching a miracle take place, because slowly each week they got braver and braver and braver. They became more open and open and open. These were shy kids. Okay, some were reserved, some were shy. There's a difference. Okay, the shy kids are more introverted, let's say, than the reserved kids. Okay, the reserved kids are not necessarily shy. But in both situations, they became so brave. Why? Because they got rid of their fear. Okay, they got rid of their anxiety. What gives a little kid anxiety? Well, tablets. That's one thing. Okay, and it depends on their home life. Depends on what they see. Depends on what they hear. Depends on their environment. So there's many factors. Okay, there's many, many factors. But when vibrations travel through your chest, okay, through your throat, your skull, your sinus cavity. So you have 3 principal resonators. This is just random information, okay? But you have a sinus cavity, you have the oral cavity, and you have the pharynx, right behind for men, it's behind your Adam's apple. And that's why men have that vibration when they speak, that buzz, okay? Women don't have that because they don't have Adam's apples, okay? But when you do the tones and you feel that ringing up here, okay, in singing, they call it head tone. Okay, but when we do the process of, vagus nerve activation, okay, this is for everyday people. I have CEOs that do it. I have attorneys that do it. I have doctors that do it. Right now, I have a doctor. I have an emergency room doctor. I have a psychologist that does it. Okay. In fact, I just took on another psychologist. And the funny thing is, after I see them and after they go through this, they start referring patients to me because it helps, because it's another thing that they can do. And what was real funny was during the pandemic, I had this girl that came to me. She was in her 30s, and she happened to tell me. See, doctors can't say, right? HIPAA laws, so they can't say. But she said, "Oh yeah, so and so referred me," and I'm like, "Oh yeah, he refers people to me. He's a psychologist." Okay. About 4 months, I think, down the road, 4 months down the road, right? She's making awesome progress. Like, she's just turning into a very different woman at that point. And I happened to, on one of the sessions, I happened to say, "Hey, how's so-and-so?" I can't mention his name. "How's so-and-so?" And she goes, "Oh, geez, ever since I've been coming to you, I haven't seen him." You see? And that's how much it changed her. It relaxed her. Okay? It took away her anxiety. Anxiety is like a small little undercurrent of fear. That's what it is. And then it gets triggered, right? You see something that's fearful. You see something else that's fearful, right? A little trigger here, a little trigger there. And then you calm down. And then another little trigger here. Right? That's happened to me before. I've been anxious before in high school, like a long time ago. But when you activate the vagus nerve, your longest cranial nerve, it not only affects your throat, it affects your heart, and it affects your gut. Okay? It helps with your digestion. It helps the way you feel. Your gut is another brain, by the way. We're not going to go into all of that stuff, but I'll just say that the vibration that your voice produces helps you. It soothes you. It relieves you somatically through your body. It relaxes the body. Okay, a lot of people that, let's say they have high stress jobs, like my CEOs, my attorneys, things like that, right? They have a lot of caseloads. They have a lot of responsibilities. They work with a lot of people. They're responsible for a lot of people. They have a lot of body tension because your body stores all the tension. It stores all the stress. This is why people go to the gym. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Matthew. Thank you. Janice says more awareness of what is causing those thoughts and how to stop the looping. Yeah. So Janice just finished with me. So Janice got pulled out of it. And that's what it does. It pulls you out of those loops. Okay, once you establish a negative loop, it becomes a habit in your subconscious. And your subconscious is helping you to repeat these actions, whether you are aware of it or not. Because it's subconscious. It's not conscious. It's a habit. It becomes a habit. Your nervous system gets used to this. And some people get so used to it, they think it's the thing. Yesterday, I was talking about an attorney that I had last year. Okay, and she had chest pain. And I said, "How long have you had chest pain?" She said, "I've always had chest pain." And this lady had a remarkable career, like amazing. When I looked her up, I'm like, whoa. Like, I was so honored to work for her, And so she told me she always had chest pain. I got rid of her chest pain in 4 months. 4 months. 1 hour a day. Okay. 16 sessions. 16 1-hour sessions. So we have a 12 session package that we sell. But if If you want to continue, it's like some people continue. My CEOs continue. My CEO, my last CEO was with me for a year. Why? Because it balances. You have a stressful week at work, you do this for 1 hour, it's a reset. It's a total emotional reset. Okay. I enjoy tuning into this live because of the subject material. This man is doing amazing things. Thank you, Matthew. I really appreciate that. That's quite a compliment. Thank you very much. Wonderful tools. Yeah, you don't even know you are doing this. So Janice, oh, thank you. Thank you, Benice. Wow, big cowboy hat. Okay, thank you. Uh, you've joined my fan club for 2 months. Oh, thank you, thank you. Um, so Janice right here, she says, wonderful tools. You don't even know you are doing this. Most people cannot see the conditioning that they're in until they get broken free from it. Okay, most people think it's normal. So this attorney, right? And then she told me she always had chest pain. She thought it was normal. She thought, well, this is the way it is. But she was running inside. She was running. Okay, now how do you break free from all this stuff? Well, the vocalization process is one thing. Okay, but it's actually 4 pillars: affirmations, meditation, vocalization, visualization. Okay, so your affirmation, right? I am so happy and grateful now that I am confident. Thank you. That's a double I am. I am refers to the essence of who you are. Okay? Your spirit in here, not your body. Okay? Not your name, your spirit in here. And that energy in here, okay, when it becomes, I don't know how to say it. In Hawaiian we say pono. So let me think about that. Pono is the state of how things should be. Okay, and when that happens with this energy in here, amazing things happen. Amazing things happen. The good part. Thank you for joining the fan club, by the way. I was not aware we had a fan club. I was okay. I'll check into that. But thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, Benice. Thank you so much. Thank you for being here. So, yeah. Anyway, but when this happens, okay, amazing things happen when you clear, okay, because you come into clarity. Okay, that's what Janice experienced. Okay, you come into clarity. What happens when clarity happens? Well, after 12 weeks, you are clear of the negative emotions. Why? Well, your vocalization breaks you out of it. Okay, we give you an affirmation to write. Okay, that goes into your subconscious in repetition. You need to do it for 66 days. Okay, you can Google that. You can fact check me. The minimum of 66 days. Okay, that's how long it takes for your subconscious to establish a firm program. And now, after 2 weeks, you can feel the difference. Okay, but 66 days. And what I do is I go back and I check. I go back and I say, okay, look at your affirmation. Are these things happening? And it's not like, I want a brand new yacht and then boom, it shows up in your driveway. It's not like that. Okay. But if you're writing an affirmation, let's say for confidence, and you feel after about 2 weeks that you're beginning to become more open to socialization, you're becoming more open and friendly to people, those little things, okay, that's all subconscious. Thank you. Yeah, pono is how things should be: righteous, balanced, doing the right thing. Yeah, pono. There you go. Thank you, Jay. Thank you. Affirmations change how you think. Inner smile within. Yeah. So that's my client Janice who went through the process. She's no longer my client, but always a lifetime friend in Denver, Colorado. Yeah. So and my the people that I call friends are people that have been through my program, and they get to know me. Other people don't really get to know me too much because I work a lot. I'm not out at parties and social functions, and I used to be for my entertainment, and those days are over. I retired from all of that years ago. But and now I teach online, so you be careful what you wish for, because when you teach online, you have to be here online, and you're not there around people. So I miss being in personal contact with people. That's a thing I miss. But back in the day, the goal was, okay, get online and you could teach from anywhere in the world, that kind of thing. And then, well, here I am now. I manifested that, right? So another thing, vagus nerve activation, okay, affects neural circuit regulation. What does that mean? Okay, when you form a negative circuit, okay, we're talking about negativity loops, okay, loops that go in a circle, okay. So speaking, I made notes. I'm going to read from my notes now. Speaking and vocalizing activate multiple brain regions simultaneously. Okay, simultaneously. So you use both hemispheres, right and left. Okay, and this is responsible for language. Okay, the parts of your brain that are responsible for language, emotion, and motor coordination. So what happens is your body somatically, okay, becomes more agile, becomes more, okay, less awkward. You see those people that are awkward? Okay, a lot of people that, have anxiety walk around a little awkward. Their movements are a little awkward. It's not because they're shy. It's because they're going through anxiety. It's because they're anxious. Okay, because all of that gets stored in your parasympathetic nervous system, and your voice breaks you out. Okay? So with emotions, what happens? You have better control over your emotions. Okay, now in the beginning, people cry a lot with this 12 weeks. In my office, I used to have a box of Kleenex on a counter, for people that used to break down in tears. And it's because your vagus nerve goes right through your throat chakra and activates the heart. And when your heart chakra opens, tears just fall. So sometimes we're going up the scale and we hit a note and tears, just like that. But they're happy tears, they're good tears. Okay, they're really good tears. Okay, but that happens. Okay, sometimes you're driving down the road and you see something and you get a thought and tears. Okay, those moments happen. Janice actually experienced that as well. Okay, but in those instances, it's important to allow it to leave. Okay, those are negative emotions. That's negative stress, and you have to process it and allow it to leave. Okay, so what's another thing with vagus nerve activation? Social and relational regulation. Okay, this is what I was talking about parents telling me that, oh, their kids are joining social clubs in high school now. They're more open to people. They're socializing more, that kind of thing. So my teenagers do that. My teenagers go through that. And parents normally bring them to me around 13, because that's the delicate age. Okay, that's where they start seeking their independence. Okay, I had one girl that came to me when she was about 11, and then at 13 she got involved with ecstasy. She just experimenting, right, with friend group kind of thing. And when she was 14, her mom ran into me in a restaurant and said, "Oh, can you see, so and so?" And I said, "Sure, yeah. Bring her to me." 9 months later, I get a text from her mom. "Thank you, thank you, thank you. My daughter is off of her depression meds." Okay, it was because of the ecstasy. And like I said, guidance from medical professionals is necessary, okay, in the decrease and then discontinuance of medication. Okay, I make no medical claims, okay, I have to say that. Okay, but so many of my people have gotten off medicine. In fact, this one guy in the United Kingdom, he got off his depression meds. He was having panic attacks. Okay, but as we worked and did the somatic healing through his voice, he got rid of it. Okay, so social and relational regulation, what is that? Well, it increases connection. Okay, connection. So your neurotransmitters, with the frequency as we go up the scale, your neurotransmitters fire oxytocin and endorphins. Oxytocin is the bonding hormone. So your brain starts getting a lot of oxytocin, okay? For 1 hour, once a week, it gets a lot of oxytocin, okay? It heals you. These are all things within, okay? The kingdom is within, and it heals you. What does it do? It makes you bond more, okay? So are you isolated? Are you to yourself? People come to me like this. They come to me like this. Most of them are scared. So they come to me like this. They're scared into themselves. That's what anxiety does. If you're anxious, if you've been suffering from anxiety for a long time, it starts to isolate you. You make the choice. It's not like anxiety just automatically does that. Not everybody does that. Okay, but they don't come out as much. So when you get a lot of oxytocin, guess what happens? Automatically start opening up. You start getting braver, right? You just kind of come out of yourself. You start socializing more. Okay. The human nervous system is designed to respond to vocal tone. Okay, I've been doing this for so many years. And it's just, in the beginning, it was just my singers that got the benefit. So I was like, well, how can we do this so everybody can have access? And so I started Here For You Life Coaching in 2010. One of the funny things is I ran into one of my former vocal students. Okay, so we started this in a voice school. It was the first commercial voice school of its kind in Hawaii. It was called Voicemaster Singing School. It's now called Voicemaster Vocal Development. You can look it up. And anyway, one of my former students, I ran into her in a shopping center, and she said, "Oh, Uncle, what are you doing now?" And I said, "Well, I started life coaching. I started a life coaching company. So that's one of the new things, And we have 4 companies under the umbrella of Voicemaster Enterprises LLC. You can look us up. It's a thing." And I told her that. She goes, "Oh, Uncle, you were life coaching before life coaching was life coaching." I was like, "Well, yeah, actually I was." But we made it formally. We formally established it in 2010. I did the research in 2007. I did the research for 2 years. Extensive research. I mean, yeah, it was a journey. It was a journey, okay? But what happens is you start having calm, grounded conversations with people, okay? You start bonding in a very sincere, humble way, okay? Very sincere. Yesterday we were talking about authenticity, right? We're talking about authenticity. Tattooed Trixie. Hey, Trixie. Kayla Marie. Good morning, guys. Good morning. Bahram. Good morning. So, we were talking about authenticity yesterday. This creates authenticity. Why? It takes away all the things that make you non-authentic. Stress, okay, anxiety, all of these things. Okay, because you're not yourself when you're anxious. You're not yourself when you're suffering anxiety. Authenticity is the highest vibration. Why is that? It's love energy. You were born with love energy. Look at any baby, any newborn. None of them were born angry. None of them were born anxious. They're all happy. Okay? Because they're in that stage before life happens. Okay? Then life happens and then all kinds of things happen, right? But they call that experience. Okay, what else? Vagus nerve activation. What else happens? Identity and self-expression. Finding one's voice. Okay, so at the voice school, we said the slogan is find your voice, find yourself. At our life coaching company, Here For You Life Coaching, that's what this broadcast is for. We say opening eyes, hearts, and minds since 2010. Why? Because we want to open your eyes to this. Okay? We want to open your heart to this. Because if we can open your mind, okay, by opening your eyes, giving you information, we can open your mind so you can start thinking about these things. These are holistic things that you can do. Okay? So if you can't see me, terrific, no problem. Get in your car, turn on your stereo, pump up the volume, as they said back in the 90s, okay? Pump up the volume and sing to the top of your lungs. And do that every time you feel stress. Okay? You will heal somatically. Okay? It's not a precision thing like the way I do it and whatever. It's not a professional way to do it, but it will help. Okay? It'll really, really help you. Okay, so finding one's voice psychologically represents expressing thoughts, boundaries. Okay, boundaries fall into place automatically. Automatically. You hear all these, therapists and things, oh, well, you have to have boundaries. You have to have boundaries. Yeah, if you're anxious, you have to find them. When you're not anxious, when you're just who you are and you're confident, guess what? Boundaries fall into place automatically. No such thing as constructing boundaries. Okay? So when I teach, here's the thing, and for all you teachers out there, okay? When I teach, I don't use any negatives. You know why? Because if you use negatives when you teach, you construct barriers. You construct walls instead of breaking them down. Okay, we break down walls, we collapse walls. Because the people that come to us are anxious and they need to heal, not create new things to be anxious about. Okay, so we don't use negatives. We don't say, no, that's bad or that's wrong or whatever. We don't do any of that. Okay. So if you're around a teacher that does that or a coach that does that or somebody who's trying to teach you something and they're inhibiting the process by using negatives, just remind them. Okay? Tell them, hey, maybe if you didn't use negatives, the process would open up and go quicker. Anyway, but yeah, so suppressed expression often correlates with internal stress and lowered self-confidence. Did you know that? When you're suppressed. Okay, so don't suppress your kids. In the old days, right, it was children are to be seen and not heard. That did a lot of damage. Okay, but people didn't know better back in the day. Okay, my parents didn't know better, apparently. Okay, and my friends' parents, because we were all taught that children are to be seen and not heard. Okay, children were not to get angry at home and express the anger, that kind of thing. Okay, so we were suppressed. So what happened? Well, we had to learn to be confident. Jesse, thank you. Thank you. Hey, Jesse the Fearless. All right, thank you. Suppression is very, very bad. Suppression can make you sick. You need to express yourself. You need to come out of yourself. Okay, I've been curing suppression in people for 37 years. Okay, because all the shy ones, okay, the shy ones, the reserved ones, they're all hiding in here like this. Okay, and they become anxious. They grow into anxiety when they're suppressed. Okay? So self-confidence happens when you open the door and let them out. The prison is in here. When you open the door and let them out. Okay, and we use this process. We use the voice for this process. Why? Because it breaks them out of prison fast. Okay? In 12 weeks, they're done. They're done. 12 weeks. And this is not expensive. This does not cost thousands of dollars, just so you know. Okay, my professional package with my professionals, yeah, it's expensive. But the average everyday person can come and do this 12 weeks and feel like brand new. So we call confidence the absence of negative emotions. It's the absence of stress. It's the absence of anxiety. It's the absence of grief. It's the absence of guilt. It's the absence of worry. It's the absence of overthinking. And when you take these things away, or let's say when the vagus nerve activation rids you of these things, you're only left with you. You're only left with you. And in the beginning, you're not quite used to it. In the beginning, it feels kind of awkward. Like, why am I not worrying? Why am I not overthinking? Why am I not anxious? And you need to get used to that. Okay, what else does it do? Well, rhythmic vocal patterns affect brain synchronization. Whoa, big terms, yeah? Okay, let me break it down. Repetitive vocal sounds create rhythm, okay? Your brain synchronizes with rhythm. This is why you start getting attracted to those songs that play on the radio. Okay, when I was in radio, they had like a 23 song playlist, the same 23 songs all day long. What happens? It starts synchronizing with your brain. Then what happens? Well, you start hearing it over and over again. Hey, yeah, you know what? This song's pretty cool. Oh, you know what? I love this song. Oh, you know, in a couple of weeks, oh, that's my favorite song. Right? Okay. It's brainwashing of sorts, but it's more marketing. Okay? It's to sell music. That's why the playlist is so small. That's why you hear the same songs over and over all day long. Okay? And then they cycle them out after a while. Okay? And then bring the new ones in. And they make the new ones popular by repeating them over and over and over. Okay? And it's subconscious. You're not consciously aware and go, oh, you know, I'm gonna think about that song. No. You're doing your job, you're working in the warehouse, you're working in the office, you're doing your thing, or you're shopping. But you hear these songs in the background and they go into your subconscious. And pretty soon you like it. Okay, pretty soon you like it a lot. Thank you, Jesse. Thank you, Jesse. Hey, Danny, good morning. And then what happens? Then you buy the song. Then you subscribe to their social media. Then you follow them on YouTube, whatever it is, okay? Now, hormonal effects, we talked about that. Oxytocin and endorphins. What else does it do hormonally for you? Vagus nerve activation increases your serotonin levels. It decreases cortisol, okay? Your fight or flight hormone, okay, decreases cortisol. It makes you calm. Okay, I have this nurse, right? And I always tease her because when I met her, she was so like this when I met her, okay? And I don't blame her. I mean, she was working hard. She, you know, and they were working her multiple shifts. And maybe about 3 months working with her, she had to stay home for 1 month because she was burnt out. She suffered burnout. So then I told her, well, you need to come more often. And she started coming 4 times a week. And that happened for quite a while. And then she snapped out of burnout, never been back. The first question, she comes once a week now. 4 years she's been with me. And now I ask her, the first question I ask her, how's your stress levels? How's your triggers? Okay, stress levels, triggers. Those 2 things. She goes, no, it's just regular stress. That means she can control it. Okay, you're supposed to be able to control regular stress. Okay, triggers. How's your triggers? Not really. Okay, your triggers disappear. But it's due to the hormones. It's due to the oxytocin and endorphins. Okay, but like I said, it separates you from your issues. Your voice does that. Okay, Because then you can remove yourself from whatever it is and observe it from the outside in. Okay? Because when you're using your spirit, your energy in here, okay, for all you scientific people, I know you go, oh, he went there. Yeah, I went there. Okay, to me, God is real. To me, God is a real thing. Okay, we are just smaller units of that energy. And that energy can go both ways, either way. It depends on what we choose. Okay? But when you choose that energy to work for you instead of against you, okay, instead of focusing on the lack, focus on the abundance of that energy and what it brings, miracles start happening in your life. You know, when I started doing that, I wasn't aware of it till 2007. You know, I've got to be popular in 1999, and the rest, as they say, is history. But when I became aware of it, I started using it. And all you need to do is ask. Ask, believe, receive. But if you're worried, okay? So doubt and fear are the only two things that prevent you from achieving anything in life. Anything. Anxiety is a small undercurrent of fear. And how does that affect people? It keeps them from their manifestations. You manifest whether you think so or not. It's not something you have to believe in. Every action results in something. If you commit fearful actions, okay, like my attorney that I had last year, right? She was working in fear, motivated by fear. She told me, I just didn't want to be poor. She was running her whole career. She ran very effectively. Okay? High performance anxiety looks exactly like motivation. Okay? So you don't know what they're going through. Okay? But inside, they're trembling. Inside, they're, right? They don't want to do this, but they feel they have to. And then pretty soon, in repetition, what happens in the negativity loop? It becomes normal. And then it says, well, this is what I have to do. This is, this is whatever. And every year you get 2 weeks to kind of chill from it. Okay? And then what happens? Then you get right back into the rat race, mouse wheel, whatever you want to call it, merry-go-round, whatever. Because it's repetition. It just goes round and round and round. But people accept it. High performance people accept it. The people that work with me, I pull them out of it and they go, wow, yeah, wow, different world. And one of the things that happens is the first thing is they get disappointed. The first, like this, I had this other attorney, right? And she said, she became discouraged because she saw what it is she was really involved in her position in the corporation. She goes, wow, anybody could do this job. They're having me do this simple stuff, this, and she had a high-paying job, doing simple things and not using her expertise as an attorney. And I said, yeah, that's corporate work. But she never saw it. Why? Because she was just day to day like this. Okay? When she broke free of it, due to the vagus nerve activation, she broke free of it. Now she saw it for what it really is. Okay? And like Janice said earlier, right? So Janice said, you don't really know until you get pulled out of it. You don't know it when you're in it. You can't feel it when you're in it. You can't see it when you're in it. Because you think it's normal, because your subconscious goes, okay, here we go again. It just repeats subconsciously. So you never really know until you're out of it. Then when you break free of it, you go, ooh. And then guess what? Once you break free of it, you don't go back. You don't go back because you know better. But you get conditioned by society. You get conditioned by all of these things over the period of years. And it becomes natural. It becomes something that you always do. Benice, ask, believe, receive. Yep, there you go. The key is believing. But you get conditioned by things in society all the time. Okay, I worked in a very toxic environment. Very toxic environment. And every day I came back to my office because I had my own companies. I came back to my office and I sat in my chair and I closed my eyes and I had to meditate. And I had to shake off the negative energy. And then I could continue with my day. If you're asking and you're not quite believing in what you're asking for, you're not going to receive. If you're anxious, it's a small undercurrent of fear. Okay? Doubt and fear keep you from your manifestation. Now, are you going to manifest things? Yeah, you will. Okay? But the key things that you really want to do, the key things or the way you really want to be or whatever, what is truly you, because you manifest who you are. Okay? You know, we talk about universal laws. The universal law of correspondence says whatever's happening in here is happening in your immediate vicinity. Okay? Look at the condition of your car. Look at the condition of your house. Look at the condition of your desk. Is it disorganized? Is it scattered? Okay? Or is it nice and neat and everything in its place? Both are reflective of the way you are in here. Yeah, stick around, fam. Okay. Both are reflective of how you feel in here. It's feel. That's the key word, feel. You have to feel happy. Happiness is a decision, but then you have to feel happy. How can you feel happy if you're anxious? So the vagus nerve activation pulls you out of this. Okay, it pulls you out. If you guys over here on this platform, all you have to do is go and see the love my Maria. Okay, half of my things are nice and neat and half of them are chaos. How do you explain that? Sometimes you're feeling it and sometimes you're not. That's very easy to explain. So there's already an indication of sometimes you feel scattered. And that's the part you need to address. The part that feels good, you don't need to address that, right? So there you go, Maria. Work on that. Pay attention to what's disorganized, because it's probably that you're not really into those things. The things that are not organized, maybe there's a little bit of, because there's things we don't like to do, right? There's things that we don't like to do. And some things, like some people don't want to, like I don't want to fold my clothes after laundry. I don't want to fold my clothes. I just stuff them in the drawer. Okay. So yeah, so there's that, right? There's things that we don't want to do, and some things we don't want to deal with, and we just, okay, whatever, push them on the side, okay? So look at those things and go, oh, okay. And then you start to understand in here, okay? But anyway, all of these things, okay, cognitive reframing through spoken language, okay, when thoughts remain internal, they can cycle repeatedly. And this is that negative thought loop process, okay? This is why your therapist talks to you. Okay, it's one of the reasons. Okay, but when you're expressing long, straight, strong tones, these things fall into place automatically. You start communicating better. Okay, and this is what I told you about my kids, that I used to have my teenagers. Right? I don't have too many teenagers now. I have mostly professionals. But when I had my teenagers, they started expressing themselves. They started joining clubs and being more articulate. Okay? They weren't afraid to speak in front of groups of people. They got over their shyness. The ones that were at risk, I've worked with so many at-risk teens. They just want to be heard. They're being suppressed. Nobody's paying attention to them. And once we do this process with them, they start having goals. And they start telling me, hey, uncle, you know what I was thinking about? I really want to do this. How do I do this? And they ask me. And I give them a plan. And they write it down. And then they follow the plan. Okay? But when you're anxious, you cannot follow a plan. I mean, you can, but it's not going to turn out as well. Okay? Kids, when they're anxious, they're frustrated. They become frustrated. They start going like this. They start going like this. They hide. Okay? They hide in here. This is a good prison. The prison is here. Okay? But with this process, this vagus nerve activation through the voice, it pushes everything out. It pushes the fear out. Okay? Confidence is what we call that space, that clear space, that clarity that takes the place of anxiety. That's what we call confidence. And that happens like by the third session, people start feeling it already. Or that's the third hour, by the third hour. So they do 1 hour once a week for 12 weeks. Okay? Anyway, so yeah. Oh, I appreciate you being here for my time. So user said, appreciate your time. Thank you. Thank you very much, user. So we want to say aloha, and we're